It is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by Mountain Dew. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick this summer? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Hump Day! But it's really the last day of the week for us. No shows Thursday and Friday because we've got Floorball 4. And who was the last team to win a franchise tournament in the warehouse?
It's the only three-time champions, Forgotten Rotten, who lost in a shootout last floorball, which is not real hockey. All my real hockey fans know that.
Are you complaining already about what's going on?
I'm not ready for this, Chris. This is the most physically daunting thing that we do. I looked at the weather. I think we're going to be okay compared to what we've dealt with before, but still, it's not getting any easier for me.
No.
I'm still the greatest athlete to ever step foot in the warehouse, obviously.
Well, it's time for you to prove it.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, we can't wait to see how you feel on Monday when you're dragging ass back here on Baseball Today. That'll be awesome. All right, pair of tips of the cap. Hasn't been much good to talk about with the Pittsburgh Pirates this season, but this is a nice little story. We had the Major League debut of one Cam Sanders. More than 7 years after the Cubs drafted him, he struck out 2 in his Major League debut with the Pirates at the age of 28. Mom and dad, a former Major League pitcher named Scott, shared the moment that their son told them he was going to the show.
He texts all the time, right? But when he calls it, but I've been waiting for this call for 3 weeks. You know, he was obviously doing well in AA, was doing well in AAA, did really well against his ex-team, Iowa Cubs, last week. And when the phone rang, I got chills now thinking about it. And he's like, hey, Dad, I said, you got the call, didn't he? He said, yes, sir. And I'll be honest, I started crying.
I mean, any call is great, but when your pops through 235 games in the major leagues on top of it and you get him to tear up because he knows how hard it is to make it, that's cool.
It's really cool. And baseball is littered, not with, exact stories like this, but guys that have persevered through some minor league seasons and finally get that call a little later than they probably wanted to. And honestly, I think those are the best calls because you did have to work really hard and you had to sacrifice and you went through the minor leagues is no joke, dude. It is just, it's not fun. It's not glamorous. There's no money in it. It is just an absolute grind. And you really have to love the game. If you stick around that many years, you have to have a love for the game and a total belief in yourself because it'll beat you down.
Sure
so
will.
that's a good one.
Good for him. Other quick tip of the cap, we had a record, at least in the StatCast era. The hardest pitch ever thrown that went for a home run. Mason Miller, the new Padres pitcher, delivered it 104. Lourdes Gurriel delivered it into the left field seats. I mean, 104, and you're able to turn on it like that? That's impressive.
It was kind of up, too. I mean, that's incredible. It just goes to show you how good big league hitters are. If you put it in the wrong spot and they're looking for something, they can get the barrel to it. And look, Dan, super producer Dan, other people's deadline reliever acquisitions stink, too. Just kidding. Nobody stinks. Mason Miller, your stuff. It's late, people. It's Tuesday night. We're filming this.
We are recording this very late because we have to both be on planes in order to get to the East Coast on Wednesday. That's good, though. Tough season for the A's as well. It hasn't gone as expected, but, man, they have left us with some indelible moments. Just a few weeks ago, Nick Kurtz, the rookie, with a 4-homer game. And, well, Shea Langoliers doesn't one-up him. He gets one shy, but still a huge, huge night for him in our nation's capital.
Helping him out a bunch tonight. This one in the air from Shea to center field. Going back is Jacob Young at another. A 3-homer game for Shea Langoliers, and we're not even in Texas.
Jenny, of course, saying that because his first 3-homer game came in Texas. So that's why she mentioned it. Langoliers joins Johnny Bench, Gary Carter, and Travis d'Arnaud is the only 4 catchers to have multi-3-homer games in history. What a night for him. 5 for 6. He's got 22 homers. I think how many does he have since in July or something? Since July 10 or
He's got a lot. He can do that. And, this, I think we're going to talk about it a little bit here, but this A's offense has never been the problem this season.
Right.
Like they've, with a little help of a couple big nights like a Langoliers, like a Kurtz, they've had some of these nights, but overall, they've consistently had like a top 12 offense in the game.
Well, certainly to watch, it's been fun. They've been a fun watch offensively.
You got a little bit of everything, Chris.
Yeah, the thing is, you've said it out there in Sacramento. The ball just flies. It's a joke. They're in a minor league ballpark. They don't have enough pitching. I don't know how much of it is on the horizon. So the big question is, like, when will they finally be good instead of just, they're, every 2 weeks we mention their offensive output.
It's going to take a lot, Chris, and I don't see it happening. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. Like you said, I'm looking at their prospect rankings right now. I mean, the guys that are in the upper echelon of like overall rankings for prospects, Nick Kurtz was 16th, Jacob Wilson was 32. Those guys have graduated. Mm-hmm. So you have a couple, back end, prospects in the top 100. It's gonna come down to when they get pitching, when they go out and spend money, and I don't think that's gonna happen until they get to Las Vegas. God,
that stinks, man.
Do you think differently? I mean, like I was hoping this team could be competitive, and they were for the first 6 weeks of the season. Maybe that's a little, maybe too much, but they have some nice players there. They really do, and it's a shame you're gonna waste the beginnings of these careers because I just don't see a world where they just traded away Mason Miller. Like I don't see a world where they're going and adding pitching. It's too expensive for them. They're not going to spend till they get to Vegas. So they don't have anyone really in the pipeline that you can really count on. I think they're going to trade Severino as well eventually, probably next year, I'd assume, maybe in the offseason. So like it's going to be a while.
Yeah, you would have to massively, massively, massively overpay to get people to pitch out in Sacramento for several reasons, in part because it's a minor league ballpark and it's minor league facilities. It's not the show. Do you see any possibility of them trading a Brent Rooker in the offseason, who is really coming to his own the last 2 years, I would say, and teams would be willing to pay him? He got a nice extension from the A's, but it's not totally ridiculous money. But he could be a power-hitting, game-changing right-handed stick, which a lot of teams would love to have.
In my opinion, I would not trade him. I'd want him around my young hitters. I think he's really good for those guys. I don't think the A's really care what I say. I think if they could get some prospect package of pitchers back for him, I think they'd pull the trigger on that. Like I said, I think they are planning on, a 2 more years of whatever we're doing this year. And Mark Kotsay, gosh dang, man.
What's he supposed to do?
What's he going to do? What can he do, Chris?
Nothing.
I mean, look, the guys that they run out there at certain times, as far as the pitching, it's tough.
It's tough, and they're playing in just a different kind of court.
Exactly. So, it's not always only on the pitchers and their ability. Like sometimes that park is going to play a factor. It's just, it's going to be a while.
Well, today's episode of Baseball Today, it is sponsored by Lids. Lids, the home of headwear. It's now your one-stop shopping for all things Topps, with Topps Chrome in Lids stores now. Whether you're a hardcore collector looking for the hobby box or a casual trading card fan looking for the value box, you can find them at your local Lids store. If you want a little more juice than the value box, but don't want to commit to the hobby box, now you can also find the Topps Chrome Mega Box in stores Wednesday, August 6th. That is later today, featuring 10 parallels per box. You can also use code JOHNBOY in stores to get an Access Pass premium membership for free with any purchase of a Topps Chrome baseball box. Recent APP rewards include front-of-the-line access to the Ronald Acuna Jr. and John Smoltz meet and greet, sweepstakes for 3-day passes at FanFest, and more. So use that code JOHNBOY in store to get your APP membership today. We guarantee it'll be memorable. All right. Brewers fans, so often you're like, Rose, you hate my team. Not true. Particularly not the way y'all been balling lately. They have won 5 in a row and 8 of their last 9. It's why I'm wearing their freaking cap today. Meanwhile, the Red Sox topped the Royals for their 7th win in a row. Mr. Plouffe, if you had to make a bet today, right now, which one of these teams would you say would be appearing in the Fall Classic?
Okay, let's start this off by you sounded like Guy Fieri right there, and I loved every second of it. Love that. Me and Guy need to hang. I saw this question. I said, okay, it's obviously the Red Sox. The AL is kind of mid. I think that there's no runaway team. The Red Sox can match up, all this stuff. And then I started doing a little bit more, a deeper of a dive. Started to think about this a little more. I also picked the Red Sox to play against the Dodgers in the World Series. So there's a lot of bias and a lot of just casual thought in my head that says Red Sox. I'm going Brew Crew, Chris. Okay. And I was saying, hey, shit, the Brewers got to go through the Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets, the Phillies. There's all these teams they got to go through, the Cubs, whatever. They're 15-8 against all of those playoff teams. They're 15-8, including 6-0 against the Dodgers, 3-0 against the Phillies. They don't care, Chris.
They don't care.
The Red Sox, on the other hand, are 14-14 against playoff teams right now. Okay, and they crushed the Yankees. So if you take that out, they're 3-7, I believe, against the Reds or the Blue Jays. I just based on what I'm actually seeing stats wise on the field, the Brewers have such a better recipe to win than almost anybody in the big leagues. They can beat you with their starting pitching. They can beat you with their bullpen. They can beat you with what they do on the base pass. They can beat you with their offense, like we just saw against the Nationals. They can do it all. So it's the Brewers. They're playing right now, Chris, like the best team in baseball.
Well, so I've looked at the Brewers for years, and I've counted them out before the season started. I mean, I just have. When you get rid of a lot of talent, not all of it is panned out, right? Corbin Burns had a great year in Baltimore after he got traded, but then ended up blowing his arm out in Arizona. Willie Adames, it took him 3 months to get his wheels spinning at his new home in San Francisco. Devin Williams, we'll talk about his disastrous year in New York. But he was great. He was great for the Brewers in any role, whether he was Hader's setup guy or the closer. Just great. So they just continuously lost talent. What's that?
Till his last pitch.
Till his last pitch against Pete Alonso. But you understand what I'm saying. Guys you could count on. And so I just keep looking at the Brewers. I'm like, really? This is the team? This is the team we're going to be watching in the World Series? And absolutely, you are right, Trevor Plouffe. You nailed it. Because Freddie Peralta could be so nasty. He can dominate. We've seen it at times in the playoffs. He can dominate really good lineups. Jose Quintana is a guy where I would not be scared to throw. You look at him, you're like, really? How old is he? 80? Does he throw hard? Does he get swing and miss? And before you know it, he's thrown 5 1/3, and you have 3 hits and maybe 1 run. That's what he does to you. And you look at the rest, the bullpen. So you've got a couple of guys back there in McGill, who was an all-star, and Uribe. Those guys are your swing and miss dudes. The rest of the guys just get it done. They're not huge strikeout artists, which would scare me a little bit in the playoffs. But I will tell you the key is, I remember we asked a question at the beginning of the year. We talked about Ohtani being the MVP, but give me a dark horse. And I said Jackson Chourio. I remember saying it. I was like, that's the guy who I think could do it. And his numbers are okay, but now he's on the IL with a bad hammy for the next 2 to 4 weeks. But if I think he's a guy that when we get to October, he is not afraid of the moment. We saw it last year as just a kid. What was he, 20 years old when he was doing it? 21 against the Mets. He got 5 hits, a couple of bombs in that 3-game series loss. That's a guy who in October, it's going to be a different ball game and the heart rate won't change for him. So if I had to pick one of those 2 teams, I would say Brew Crew. Yeah.
I think we're right. It all makes sense, but then, you get to the postseason and none of it makes sense.
None of it does.
It really is the truth. By the way, yes, the Milwaukee Brewers Maybe they don't strike out enough people in the bullpen. What are they in strikeouts for the bullpen? I have it up. Excuse me real quick.
No,
they are dead middle, Ks per 9, 15th in the league, but they're a top 10 team in homers allowed. Like that's kind of the big thing. Plus, if you let people put the ball in play, their defense is excellent.
Yeah, they're excellent, and we know that every 90 feet count, and this team will push it on the bases. They'll have guys run.
No, they will. It's still going to be Red Sox Dodgers World Series.
That's so cute. Let us know who you think between those teams. Who do you favor and why? Don't just give us one answer, just a name. Give us a reason why. We like that in the comments section. Thank you. All right, it's time right now for Climbing the Mountain, which is brought to you by Mountain Dew, where we take a look at the teams who are climbing up or sliding down the mountain on the trek to the playoffs. Well, in part because the Brewers have just been rolling, but the Chicago Cubs, we got to focus on them. Reds beat them again. Now Chicago 4 back in the Central, and that was just part of the bad news that they got because Michael Soroka is now on the injured list with a shoulder issue. This is a guy that has had a ton of shoulder issues ever since he first got in the league in 2018. Then he twice blew out his Achilles, all sorts of stuff. I mean, he is a medical woe. And so Jed Hoyer was asked about making the trade for this guy.
I mean, earlier he was sitting at much higher velocity. It was kind of coming down. We were trying to get to the bottom of exactly what that was. And he had the MRI before that. So, yeah, I mean, clearly there was that risk profile was known. And we decided, it was given the asking price and given the fact that we felt like he was sort of a notch above some of the other guys that we were talking about in terms of talent and development opportunities, we thought it was the right risk.
How bad a look is this for the Cubs?
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
You don't?
I really don't. Like, are you saying because they needed to add and this is who they added and he got hurt right away, so it's a bad look? Or just like because they saw the velo going down, that's a telltale sign? Like, what are you so mad about?
So there's a couple of things.
Okay.
And I didn't even really know this until I did a little bit of the research, which is that his average miles per hour in his starts since the break down almost 3 miles per hour on his fastball for a guy who has a history of shoulder issues, including as recently as last year. The bigger issue is that they haven't been able to keep their starting rotation healthy all year. So if you're not going to fire that many bullets at this thing, and I personally think that the Cubs had an extremely disappointing, arguably the most disappointing trade deadline of any contender in the National League, that this is the one you're going to go after here. And I feel terribly for this kid. Like, he has fought so hard to get. This is not on him. I just think Jed Hoyer made a total misstep. Now, you never know. You could go get a guy. You could trade for a guy who could blow out his elbow, 2 appearances in. That sort of stuff does happen. But why in the world would you roll the dice on a guy who has an injury history that's, the size of a phone book? Kids, go Google what a phone book was.
Phone book. They saw something in his mechanics. They thought that was the problem. They could change it. That's why they did it. Got a lot of advanced scouting, a lot of data to back that up, apparently. I mean, that's what they were kind of saying. So, yeah, I mean, like, I didn't love their trade deadline either. I get it. I get it from that aspect. So I guess because this was their starting pitching move, like, I guess that's where it goes wrong, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I'm frustrated.
You got a couple guys on their way back. Isn't Taillon on his way back?
Yeah. And so is Assad.
Assad's on his way back.
I know, but
Ben Brown. I don't understand. Ben Brown's Gavin Williams to me. What the heck's wrong? Like, I feel like this guy should be great, and then he's just not sometimes.
Gavin Williams has pitched pretty well the last 2
I
months.
love Gavin Williams. You're the one always telling me that he's isn't that good.
All right. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I hated every aspect, not just this trade, but every aspect of the Cubs, because they just held on to too many of their highly touted prospects. I mean, if you're going to, I don't know where they are emotionally with Kyle Tucker. Do they really think that he's going to return? Do they not? Do they think they have a legit chance? If not, is Owen Casey automatically their right fielder next year? Is it somebody else that they've got in the system? Like, It just didn't make enough sense. Go for it right now. You've got some older players on this team.
I'm trying to think like who they could have went out and got.
Well, but remember, Jed Hoyer said, well, we weren't the only team that came away empty-handed. Like, controllable pitchers, they didn't move. Well, they didn't move because you weren't willing to budge off of the prospects that you wanted to hold on to forever.
I feel like it's been a whirlwind. Who were the starting pitchers that moved? Like, give me, like, who were they? The controllable starting pitchers that moved. Mean? Yeah.
There weren't guys with control. All the relievers.
It was just relievers. It was a reliever-heavy market.
I know. That's because everybody goes, well, the price was too high. What makes it too high? When you go back and look at trades 5 years ago, sure, some teams got burned. That happens. That's been happening ever since the trade deadline was enacted. It always happens. But you know what? Go back and look, and most of the players that get traded don't turn into superstars. Very few of them turn into all-stars. You can all put in your comments who did, and I'll agree with that. That does happen. There are certain ones, and there's no question. Maybe one day Leo DeVries is going to be an MVP candidate for the Las Vegas A's down the road. That sure shit could happen. Fernando Tatis turned into a star because James Shields got traded. Like, that stuff happens. But I will win that argument because I can point to way, way more deals where the guy that they traded for ended up having a substantially better career than the prospects who might not even have gotten to the major leagues. Why wouldn't he have gone and gotten Robbie Ray?
Chris, you're preaching to the choir, man. I am not a prospect hugger whatsoever. I'm looking right now. Was Shane Bieber the best pitcher traded? Best starting pitcher traded? Who hasn't even thrown a freaking MLB inning this year?
And he's probably, if he gives 8 or 7 starts, will probably opt out of next year's contract.
Am I missing somebody? Like, I was thinking, like, man, Trev, you had a few pops tonight at dinner with your wife. Are you forgetting what happened at the trade deadline, which is obviously a possibility for me? But I don't think I am missing anybody.
Merrill Kelly moved.
Merrill Kelly, Charlie Morton, Shane Bieber.
Yeah, so you've got a guy in his 40s, a guy in his walk year, and a guy who probably will opt out of his contract.
We're probably missing somebody else,
but I don't think we're missing. Like, there were multiple really good relievers. Duran, he's got multiple years left of control. Mason Miller's got 4. Camilo Doval, although he's had his issues, has got a couple.
Well, excuse me, hold on. The Twins got guys. They got Taj Bradley. Go Twins, go, baby! We won.
But that's not for a pennant race. That's to rebuild. That's to rebuild. Bottoms up, brother. Keep drinking with that one.
I'm just saying. I was thinking of pitchers that moved.
I don't know. Am I being too mean with the Cubs and Jed Hoyer here? I would be pissed off if I were a Cubs fan.
I think you set a standard, and you have your. I mean, look, nobody knows your prospects better than you do. So you set a standard, and you want. They all have to think. They all says, I can't just think about 2025. I got to think about 26, 27. Which, it's true. You don't want to just empty out everything. There are times in an organization's history where you should empty it out a lot. This might be the year for that when you're trying to convince Kyle Tucker to stay there. You just went out and traded a bunch of guys, some studs to get him. I think that maybe there should have been maybe nice, Trev. There should have been a little bit more aggressiveness. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I thought they blew it. And I know a lot of people, we haven't even mentioned the struggling offense. I understand that. But for most of this year, that offense has been really good. They'll get back around. I don't know, baseball fans, maybe I'm seeing this wrong, but I don't.
Second in runs, third in OPS, third in homers, third in stolen bases. I'm not, the offense isn't the problem here.
Yeah. All right, Rangers have taken the first 2 against the New York Yankees as Aaron Judge came back. Amazing effort by Nathan Eovaldi, and we'll talk about that in just a second. 8 scoreless out of him. But first, we're going to start with the Rangers. They were up 2-0. Giancarlo Stanton coming up to pinch hit. He represents the tying run in the 9th inning with nobody out.
1-1. And there's a ground ball sharply to shortstop. Seager from his knees to second. 1 on to first. 2! Double play!
Seager made a couple of pristine plays defensively on Tuesday night. Now, there are some people that will look at the way Stanton didn't get down the line. This is just the way it goes with him, man. You just got to accept it because of all of these creaky knees and all that sort of stuff that goes on.
Especially if he's going to have to go out to right field. I think you just got to deal with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And Seager made a great play. He's actually, I think, the games that I've watched the Rangers play, he's looked great at shortstop.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think he is. Right now, my big thing is Will Smith is the most underrated player in baseball. And Corey Seager, he's got his... Corey Seager's got his flowers before, and he's got paid. He's gotten paid. I understand that. People have just forgotten about the kind of player he is.
They forget about him because it's not a baseball crazy...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the most underrated player. I'm just saying that people, every once in a while, we get reminded of how damn good he is as a player.
Okay, now that I'll agree with.
Yeah.
That I will agree with.
You agree with Will Smith as the most underrated player in baseball?
He's not. Who?
Will Smith, the catcher.
No, I think he's pretty well respected. Like when you give a list of your top 3 catchers, he's always in there.
You never mention him as the best catcher, though.
Because we don't think about it. There aren't that many catchers that where you're like, wow, that guy's great.
Exactly.
Cal Raleigh. He's the only catcher we mentioned. Dude. Cal Raleigh's the only catcher we mentioned. All right. This is about the Rangers. And a little bit before we get to Eovaldi, we have to talk about what happened with Devin Williams. He came in the 8th inning, a scoreless game. He, Dominguez couldn't get to a ball. There were a couple of walks. Rowdy Tellez finally got the Rangers on the board. That was big. There were people that said, listen, Bednar and Leiter were both hot in the bullpen, that Williams had faced his minimum. Boone should have at least gotten him out there. Even if you put him out there, a lot of people had a problem with him even being in the game after what happened on Monday night. Any problem with you?
I mean, it doesn't look good now. I mean, it was a decent pitch to Rowdy right there, right? Like, that wasn't a bad pitch. I feel like you put Devin Williams up against Rowdy Tellez. You feel good about that matchup. No offense to my guy, Rowdy. Shout out Buffalo, New York, where we met. But, I mean, all of their back-end relievers have had problems, Chris. Like, this hasn't been like some, hey, this guy's been great and we're not using him. That just really hasn't been the case. So, I don't know. Maybe it's because maybe the day after you have something go wrong, like we did with Devin Williams. Maybe you think about it, but it wasn't in the 9th inning. I don't know, man. I don't. You got to use your high leverage guys. I get. You get some runners on, you have Bednar, maybe you bring him in then. I understand that logic. I do. But what do you can't just not pitch Devin Williams. What are you going to do?
Right. Nothing. I don't know. I mean, they talked to him afterward. He did look like he was like, I don't know what to say. Like, really, I think that's pretty much the way it went down. His interview with Meredith Marakovits afterward on Yes. Like, Weaver pitched earlier, I believe. Duvall had pitched earlier, I believe.
Duvall pitched in the 6th.
Yeah, in the 6th. Right. So, by the way, in a 0-0 game in the 6th inning, that's still an important inning.
Yeah, high leverage comes everywhere. I just, if you're saying don't pitch him there, then you're saying don't pitch him at any high leverage situation, which maybe that's what people want.
God, I can't believe that. What do you think has happened to his financial value as he heads into free agent year?
I mean, it's taken a hit. There's no doubt about it.
Are people going to be reluctant to give him multiple years?
He'll get a multi-year deal. He will.
He has to, right?
I think a lot of people will, and almost rightfully so, say, man, he just wasn't a good fit in New York. We've seen guys, that's happened to guys before. Sonny Gray comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an easy place to play. Like, when they say the pinstripes are heavy, I truly do believe that. I never played for him, but it's not an easy place. There's a ton of pressure, and there's pressure on you everywhere you go, but it is a little bit different there.
Wow. Well, let us know.
You not believe that?
I do agree with it. I do. I've talked to guys who feel it. There's no question.
Especially when things are going poorly. It's the greatest place to play when things are going right.
Does he end up on the Phantom IL?
I mean, they better hurry up and do it, Chris.
Jeez.
There's not that much season left.
Yeah. How's this going to play out? Yankees, Devin Williams, bullpen? I don't know. Now, I want to get to the good of that game, please, of Nathan Eovaldi. Okay. You see his stats over the last 6 starts? He's 6-0 with a .47 ERA. His season ERA is 1.38 this year. I know he's only made 19 starts, so let's just say he finishes the year strong and he makes another 6 or 7 starts. Is it possible he could wrestle the Cy Young away from either Tarek Skubal or Garrett Crochet?
We just did the all-JM team today, and some of the traditional stats, Eovaldi looks nasty, and I still think it's Skubal's to lose. I do. He doesn't give up any homers. He strikes out everyone, barely walks anybody. He goes deep into games as well. I love Eovaldi as a pitcher. I really, really do. And it is closer than probably most people give it credence. But I think it's still Scoops. I think it's Skubal and Skeens. Which is, it's fun. Those are off the top of your head, that's who you probably would name as the 2 top pitchers in each league.
So I think, if I wrote down the numbers correctly, that Eovaldi's ERA plus is 2.49. Skubal's is like high 170s or 180s. Crochet's is in the 180s, something like that. Now, Skubal has 70 more strikeouts. That's a big gap to make up. And even, I think that Eovaldi's going to have a hard time getting 150 innings pitched this year. So I don't feel like it's going to happen. It's not a shot. I think he could finish 3rd and have a remarkable year. He's really had an amazingly interesting career. Like, people don't remember him coming up as a fireballer for the Dodgers. The guy threw a bazillion back when not as many guys threw 100.
And he's not a huge guy either.
And he's also not a huge strikeout guy, which is bizarre to me.
Soft contact guy.
Yes.
No, I think he's a dog, dude.
It feels like his career changed the night of Game 3 of the 2018 World Series. It really does. When he came out of the bullpen and pitched the last, I think, 6 innings of extra innings where Max Muncy took him oppo for the Dodgers' lone win of that series, it felt like after that, when he walked into the clubhouse and the team, after a loss in the World Series, gave him a standing ovation, it just felt like that changed his career, and he's been incredible since then.
I'd like to do a deep dive into like pitch repertoire and everything to see, if anything actually has changed or if it is just straight confidence and like the understanding that he can get through anything after a game like that.
Yeah. Incredible stuff.
Devin Williams, add a 3rd pitch, bro. Like, do it.
Well, that came. Good callback.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking at what the heck is going on. Like, he's got a cutter and a slider listed, but he rarely ever throws. He's been a 2-pitch pitcher his entire career, essentially. But add a 3rd pitch, man. Just show it every once in a while.
Wow.
Bring a slider in, a sweeper, whatever.
I'll tell you this. But today's episode is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip. Why not make the most of it? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western's there for every detour, destination, unexpected twist and turn along the way. Whether you're hitting the road, traveling for work, or chasing the next big game, there's a room always waiting for you. But a great stay isn't just about rest. It's about what comes next. A great stay doesn't just help you recharge. It sets the tone for the early wake up, the late night arrival, or the last minute change of plans. Best Western gets it. Traveling isn't one size fits all. It's for the planners and the procrastinators, the loyal point collectors and the, hey, I just booked it crowd. So whether you're traveling solo, with your friends, or the entire roster, Best Western has got you covered. So pack your bag, cue up the playlist, hit the road. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. All right. Before we get out of here, interesting late night on the West Coast for a pair of third basemen. They had it cracking.
Held out hope. Max has been slotted into the air to right field, heading back toward the wall. How about another? Gino! Tags it to left, like he never left Seattle.
That's right, Eugenio Suarez with his first home run back in Seattle as a Mariner. And also you heard the call of Max Muncy going deep twice, part of, I believe, a 4-hit night. So which of those third basemen is more important for their respective teams down the stretch?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think it's Eugenio. I do. I think he lengthens their lineup and makes it formidable. The Dodgers, I know the offense has been struggling as of late, Mookie and kind of everybody. And Muncy, he lengthens their lineup as well, but I could see those guys in the top half of that roster carrying the team, getting hot and being fine, whereas I really believe the Mariners needed to get both not only Eugenio but Josh Naylor as well to really solidify themselves as like an offensive threat. I know Cal's had a great year. Julio's coming on, and they've had some guys step up throughout the year, but it's Gino. You want to talk about what the Dodgers did when Muncy was out, you can, and that's fine. It makes sense, and maybe you're going to say that, but I think sometimes you can't overthink something like this. Gino means a ton to that Seattle team.
I think it's Muncy because even when he's not hitting home runs, I think he's critical. His eye, like he hits. What do you think his career batting average is in the playoffs?
No idea. I do know he takes great at bats. I like that.
But just give a guess of what his batting average is. And I know a batting average, people aren't into it, but I want to prove a point here.
I don't really know. I don't even know what his career bat. I'm going to say 257.
It's 217.
Okay.
But you know what his OPS is? It's 832.
On base?
Pretty good. I forgot to check what that is. But thank you. 13 career homers in the playoffs. He always has a really good eye. He works counts, and he is the guy that you never think about in the Dodgers lineup. Ever.
They're all thinking about Muncy right now, dude. The entire Dodger fan base is thinking about him.
I know, but I'm talking about the opposition when you're dealing with, okay, how do we get Shohei out? If Mookie comes around, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. I know Trevor Plouffe thinks he's really underrated, but we know how damn good he is. Then don't forget about Teoscar and what he can do. And then you're like, yeah, we can get through that. And then here comes Muncy. And all of a sudden he will hit a game changer for you, man.
388 on base percentage to a 217. The ISO's unbelievable, huh?
Right?
Well, he's only slugging 443. I mean, that's pretty good, but it's the on base percentage that's crazy.
That on base percentage, and a guy, that just shows you what he can do. I just think that's really important. I think that Gino, it's either home run or nothing for him.
That's really important. It's just another threat in that lineup that makes the manager have to think about, the lanes and all these different things. And I mean, look, you need a 3-run homer in a playoff series. And they got Cal doing it, and they got Randy. I think Randy's got 20-something homers. That's great. You need some more thump. I love it for them. But where are they right now? I'm looking at it. I got it up. They are 4th in homers. Wow.
By the way, Naylor.
That doesn't include Eugenio's numbers now. That's just what they've hit as a team, the Mariners. So. Okay. So they've been crushing homers. Obviously, it's buoyed by Cal, but okay.
And Naylor hit one as well. So that was kind of fun to watch their new cornerman do that. That was good stuff. All right. That'll do it for us. We appreciate that. We'll have fun traveling.
I think they do include. I'm on Fangraphs. I'm looking at their roster resource. I think they do include Gino's homers.
They do. That doesn't seem fair.
Because I'm looking at their stats and they're listing his as 36. They're listing it as a full. If you work for Fangraphs, let us know.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
It shouldn't.
No, that sounds. In fact, it sounds.
Hold
wrong.
on.
Even if it is right, it sounds wrong. All right, we are off the next 2 days because we're not off. We're working. We're working diligently.
I have him third in all of baseball in homers with 162.
Okay. Before we leave, can everybody in the comments just wish Plouffe good luck and tell him to hydrate himself and not go drink at night with Jake like this. Tell him he needs to show up and take this shit seriously because he wants to be a warehouse games champion.
I'm like Babe Ruth, dude. I'll do whatever I want, show up and be fine.
Different story. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is the inebriated Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew.